Okay, in this lesson, we're going to look more at slope and in particular parallel and perpendicular lines. So it would be great if you have a graphing calculator handy or one of the apps that you can do this with, and set up yourself with a viewing rectangle of -10, 10, 1 in the x's and -10, 10, 1 in the y's, and recall on a Texas Instrument thing that would be, excuse me, by using the window feature. We could put more than one equation in at a time by putting a separate one in for y1, y2, and y3. So you can see that the three equations, I've already entered y equals 2/3 x plus 3 and y equals 2/3 x. So I'm just going to go down to the third one and put in y equals 2/3 x minus 2. To do a fraction, treat it like you're doing a divide. So 2 divided by 3x and subtract 2. So now I've got those three equations entered in, and I'm going to hit the graph button. And there you can see those three lines. And they are going to be plotted in the order in which they were put in. So I can make a sketch of them, but I'm actually going to avoid picking up a pen because that seems to mess up my use of the calculator. So you could sketch in those three parallel lines and you can see that they're parallel. This gives us the rule that if you have non-vertical lines that are parallel, they'll have the same slope. Notice that on those three equations, the slope of all three of them is 2/3. So equal slope, parallel lines. And it works both ways. If they're parallel, they have the same slope. If they have the same slope, they're parallel. And in addition, because we can't talk about the slope of a vertical line because it's undefined, but if you have two distinct vertical lines, they're also parallel. So let's look at how to use that process in finding the equation of lines. So if I want to find the equation of the line through the point -6, 1 that's parallel to y equals 2/3 x plus 2, well, I know that the slope of that line now is going to have the same slope as that one, so it's 2/3. And I've got the point -6, 1. So I can use our point slope form for the equation of a line, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, and plug in the parts that I know. So it'll be y minus 1 equals 2/3 x minus -6. So we'll just call that a plus 6. And we'll put it into function format, or at least we'll put it into y equals mx plus b format. So y equals 2/3 x. 2/3 of 6 is 4, so plus 4, plus 1 because we are moving the -1 from the left side. We want to remove it, so we'll add 1. So we have y equals 2/3 x plus 5. And that's the equation of the new line. It passes through this point and is parallel to the line y equals 2/3 x plus 2. Similarly, in the second example, we can find the equation of a line that's parallel to 3x minus y plus 1 equals 0, and that goes through -2, 5. So we need to do some rearranging of this equation in order to find its slope. We want to get the y by itself on the left side. So we'll leave the -y on the left, and we'll subtract 3x from both sides, and we'll subtract 1 from both sides, and then we'll multiply everything by -1 to get a positive y. So y equals 3x plus 1. So the slope of that is 3, and the point is -2, 5, and now we'll use the same form that we did before. So it'll be y minus 5 equals 3 times x plus 2. Just instead of subtracting -2, I'm just immediately turning it to adding 2, and now I'll add 5 to both sides. So y equals 3x, and then I'll have a 6 from here, plus 6 plus 5 gives me 3x plus 11. And there's the equation of the line that's parallel to the original line, but that goes through the point -2 and 5. So now let's take a look at perpendicular lines instead. And I'm going to ask you to plot two different equations. And Let's bring up the calculator and see if that's going to work for me this time. Yep. So the first equation is the same, so I can leave it. The second equation is not, so I'm going to clear it. And I'm going to go down and clear the third one as well. And under y2, I'm going to put in negative 3/2. So negative 3 divided by 2 times x subtract 2. So there's the second equation. I want to set the window a little bit differently because when I use the negative 10, 10, 1 viewing rectangle, because the screen on the calculator is a rectangle and not a square, it stretches the x's out more than the y's, so you don't have the x's and the y's don't have exactly the same size. So the way to do that with these calculators would be to hit zoom and number 5, which is square. So zoom square. So there's the first line, and there's the second line. And you can see that the two lines meet at right angles. They're perpendicular to each other. So you could sketch them in if you like. Okay. And I'll minimize that now, and we'll move on. So when two numbers multiply to give number -1, they are called negative reciprocals. So let's take a look at the slopes of those two lines. The 2/3 x plus 3 did something like this, and the negative 3/2 x minus 2 did something like this, and we noticed that that looks like a right angle to us, and it is in fact a right angle. So let's take a look at their slopes. 2/3 times negative 3/2. Well, that gives us negative 6/6, which is -1. So those two numbers are negative reciprocals. So a negative reciprocal has the opposite sign and is a reciprocal of that number. So these two slopes are negative reciprocals, and the lines that they give are perpendicular to each other. So if two lines are perpendicular, their slopes are negative reciprocals, and vice versa. And I just am going to put a little more space here. So let's do this first example. Find the slope of a line that's perpendicular to 3x minus 2y plus 6 equals 0. So first we need to find the slope of that particular line. So again, we'll leave our y term on the left and subtract 3x and subtract x from both sides so that those end up on the right. So we have negative 3x minus 6. We'll divide everything by -2 to get 1y. So we end up with y equals 3/2 x plus 3. So the slope of that line is 3/2. The perpendicular slope, that upside down T symbol means perpendicular. So the perpendicular slope will be negative because we're changing the sign 2/3. So now we know what the slope of the perpendicular line will be. Oh, and that's all this question is asking for us. What's the perpendicular slope going to be? -2/3. We don't actually have to find the equation of a line for this one. In the next example, though, we will do that. We're finding the equation of the line through 6, 2, that's perpendicular to 2x plus y minus 5 equals 0. So again, rearrange the equation to get y by itself. The slope of that line is -2. The perpendicular slope then will be positive 1/2. Okay, so that we have the negative reciprocal. So there's the slope. Here's the point that that line goes through. So now we could come up with the equation. So it'll be y minus 2 equals 1/2 x minus 6. So y equals 1/2 x, and we'll have a -3 plus 2, so -1 is the equation of the line. And that's it for this brief lesson. And stay tuned for the next lesson, which we'll also do on the same day.